Be me, Silas. Just a regular guy, got my own place, a decent job that pays the bills, nothing flashy. Spend most of my free time on my hobbies, mainly a big tabletop gaming group and hiking when the weather's good. This story is about my ex, Lana. We'd been together for about a year, maybe a little more. And for most of that time, things were genuinely good, like comfortable good. The kind of relationship that doesn't feel like work. I remember this one specific evening a few months back, before everything went sideways. It was a nothing special kind of day. We were just making dinner at my place. I was chopping vegetables. She was stirring a sauce on the stove. We had some music playing quietly in the background. There was no big dramatic conversation, just small talk about our day. I made some dumb joke, and she laughed, that real, genuine laugh, not the polite one. Later, we were on the couch watching some dumb movie I'd seen a dozen times. I noticed she was shivering a bit, even though the heat was on. Got up without saying anything, grabbed the thick wool blanket off my bed, and draped it over her. She looked up at me and smiled, snuggled into it, and leaned her head on my shoulder. It was a small thing, but that's what it was all about. No games, no tests, just ease. We understood each other's rhythms. I knew she hated loud bars but loved quiet little coffee shops. She knew I got super focused on my miniature painting and would just bring me a drink without interrupting. It was a partnership, a team. Or so I thought. The change wasn't sudden. It was a slow creep, like a tide coming in. So slow you don't even notice you're underwater until you can't breathe. It started after she had a girls' night out with a couple of her friends. I didn't think anything of it, obviously. She went out with them all the time. But when she came back from this particular one, there was a different energy about her. Usually she'd come home bubbly and tell me all the funny stories. This time she was quiet, almost clinical. I asked if she had a good time. She just shrugged and said it was enlightening. Weird choice of words, but whatever. Then I started noticing her phone. It was always in her hand, more than usual. She'd be scrolling endlessly while we were supposed to be watching something together. I'd catch glimpses of the screen, short videos, all with the same kind of aggressive sans serif font titles. Signs you're dating a low-value man. How to make him fear losing you. Feminine energy. Why he should chase you. I asked her once what she was watching. She locked her phone screen instantly, said it was just self-help stuff, for empowerment. Red flag, I know, but at the time, I just thought it was some harmless online trend. I figured it would pass, like that time she tried to get into making sourdough. It did not pass. The first real test came a week or so later. I texted her on a Monday morning. "Hey, weather looks perfect for that hike we talked about this Saturday. You free?" Normally, she'd reply within the hour, excited, making plans. This time, silence. Hours went by. I saw the little read receipt. I knew she'd seen it. My brain started doing that stupid thing, running through possibilities. Did I say something wrong? Is she mad at me for some reason I don't know about? I pushed it down. "She's just busy, man. Chill out." Finally, around 9 p.m., my phone buzzed. A reply from Lana. "I'm not sure what my schedule looks like yet. I'll have to see if I feel up to it." That was it. No "hey," no emoji, no "hope you had a good day." It felt like a business email from a stranger. I was just confused. I replied, "Okay, no worries. Just let me know when you can." I was trying to be cool, to not seem pushy. The weekend came and went. She never brought it up again, and I didn't want to seem like I was nagging her. The behavior started to form a pattern. It was like she had a playbook. She'd take forever to respond to texts, if at all. Our phone calls, which used to be long, meandering chats, became short and interrogative. She'd ask what I was doing. I'd tell her, and then she'd say she had to go. She stopped initiating anything. It was always me reaching out, me making the plans. And then she started canceling those plans. We had dinner reservations for our anniversary at this nice Italian place she loved. I was at home, literally putting on my shoes to leave and pick her up. My phone chimed, a text. "Hey, I'm really not feeling it tonight. Super drained from the week. I think I just need a night to myself to recharge." I just stared at the message. Drained from the week? It was a Friday. She'd had a pretty easy week. She told me so herself the day before. This wasn't about being tired. This was a choice. I texted back, "Oh, okay. I was really looking forward to it. Everything all right?" Her reply came instantly this time. "You don't need to get all passive-aggressive. A woman is allowed to have boundaries and prioritize her own mental health. It's a bit toxic to try and make me feel guilty for it. I felt like I'd been slapped. Toxic. Passive-aggressive. I was just expressing disappointment. I didn't reply. I just took my shoes off, put the reservation confirmation in the trash, and ate a bowl of cereal for dinner. The house felt incredibly quiet. When we were together, things were just as strange. The easy physical affection was gone. If I tried to hold her hand, she'd pull away after a few seconds to check her phone. If I put my arm around her on the couch, she'd shift and complain she was too hot. It was like I was a stranger she was forced to be polite to. The worst part was the feeling of being constantly tested. She'd bring up other guys in a way that felt deliberate. My manager was saying today that my new haircut really makes my eyes pop. He's so observant. This guy at the gym offered to spot me. He was really nice. She'd say it while watching my face, looking for a reaction. I didn't give her one. I wasn't the jealous type, and it just felt like such a childish game. I'd just nod and say, "Oh, that's cool." I could see the flicker of annoyance in her eyes when I didn't rise to the bait. It felt like she wanted me to be insecure, like she was trying to manufacture drama to feel desired. After a few weeks of this, I couldn't take the weird tension anymore. I decided I had to talk to her about it, face to face. I chose a time when we were both calm, just sitting in her apartment, no distractions. I took a breath and started. "Lana, can we talk for a minute? I feel like things have been off between us for a while now." She immediately crossed her arms. Her face was a defensive mask. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, her voice flat. I tried to be specific but gentle. "You seem distant. You cancel plans a lot. You barely reply to my messages. I feel like I'm bothering you half the time. If I did something to upset you, I really wish you'd just tell me so we can fix it." She actually scoffed. "Oh my God, here we go," she said, rolling her eyes. "This is so typical." "What's typical?" I asked, genuinely confused. "This male insecurity, this neediness. I'm just living my life, being an independent person, and you're interpreting that as some kind of problem with you. The world doesn't revolve around you, Silas." My jaw almost hit the floor. "Neediness? Lana, I'm just trying to have a conversation about our relationship, the one we're both in. I'm feeling disconnected from you. Maybe you should work on your own emotional regulation instead of trying to control my behavior," she said, her voice dripping with condescension she'd clearly picked up from one of those videos. "I'm not trying to control you. I'm telling you how your actions make me feel. I feel hurt." "Well, I'm not responsible for your feelings," she said, standing up. "I've learned that I don't need to manage a man's emotions. I'm going to go have a bath." And with that, she walked out of the room. The conversation was over. She had shut it down with a bunch of therapy speak buzzwords that left no room for discussion. I was the problem. My feelings were the problem. My desire for basic communication and connection was needy and toxic. I just sat there on her couch for a long time, listening to the water run in the bathroom. It was like talking to a brick wall that had just discovered pop psychology on the internet. I went home feeling completely defeated. I knew I couldn't be the only one who saw this was crazy. A couple days later, I met up with my oldest friend for a drink. He's a no-nonsense kind of guy, known him since we were kids. I didn't even plan on dumping it all on him, but he could tell something was wrong. He asked what was up, and the floodgates opened. I told him everything. The texting games, the canceled dates, the weird comments, the disastrous talk. He listened patiently, nodding along, not interrupting once. When I finally finished, he just took a long sip of his beer. "So," he said, putting the glass down, "she's running the script." "The script? What's that?" "It's the playbook they all get from the internet," he explained. "Act distant to create value. Never be too available. Make him feel like he could lose you at any moment so he'll work harder. It's supposed to weed out the weak men and attract a high-value man who loves the chase. It's manipulation 101, dressed up in empowerment language." Hearing him lay it out so plainly was like a light bulb going on. It wasn't random, it was a conscious, deliberate strategy. "So, what do I do?" I asked. "You stop playing," he said simply. "The game only works if you're a player. The only way to win is to not play. Drop the rope. See what happens." He told me a story about a girl he dated who tried the same thing. He chased for a bit, then got tired of it and just went radio silent. A week later, his phone was blowing up with panicked texts from her. "Just live your life, dude," he advised. "Focus on your own stuff. If she wants to be in your life, she knows how to act like a normal human being. If she just wants a puppy to chase a stick, she'll find someone else." The conversation was a massive reality check. It validated everything I was feeling. I wasn't being needy or toxic. I was just a guy reacting to being treated poorly and being messed with. But there was still a part of me that wanted to believe in the Lana I knew before all this. The girl who'd laughed at my dumb jokes while we cooked dinner. I decided to make one last, genuine effort. A final attempt to connect with the person I thought she was. Her favorite band, an indie group we'd discovered together, was coming to town. It was a huge deal for her. Tickets were hard to get, but I managed to snag 2 really good seats. I thought this would be the perfect gesture. It wasn't just a random date, it was something deeply personal to us, to our history. I imagined her reaction, the surprise, the excitement. Maybe this would snap her out of it. Maybe this would remind her of us. I called her. I didn't want to text. This needed a human voice. She picked up on the 3rd ring. "Hello?" she answered, her voice cool and detached. I tried to sound as cheerful and normal as possible. "Hey Lana, guess what? You know how we always said we'd kill to see band name live? Well, I got us tickets for their show in a few weeks." There was a pause on the other end of the line. I could hear her breathe. I was expecting a squeal of excitement. Instead, what I got was a sigh, a tired, annoyed sigh. "Silas, you really should have asked me first before doing that," she said, her tone utterly flat. "I wanted it to be a surprise," I said, my own excitement starting to curdle in my stomach. "Well, I don't know what my schedule will be like in a few weeks. That's a really busy time for me. I might not be free." This was a band she had obsessed over for years. She would have dropped anything to go. "You can't even say thank you?" I asked, my voice quieter than I intended. "I can't thank you for something that puts an obligation on me without my consent," she said, as if reciting a line. "It's a form of pressure. I'll have to check my calendar and get back to you." Pressure, obligation, consent. She was talking about a concert ticket, a gift, and in that moment, something inside me just switched off. It wasn't anger, it wasn't even sadness, not really. It was a profound, hollow emptiness, a feeling of complete and utter exhaustion. The friend's voice echoed in my head. "Drop the rope." I was holding onto this rope so tightly, and the other end was just lying in the dirt. There was no one on the other side. The Lana I was trying to reach was gone. In her place was this caricature, this avatar programmed with a script of buzzwords and manipulative tactics. And I was done. I was just done. "You know what, Lana?" I said, and my own voice sounded strangely calm to me. "Don't worry about it. It's fine." "What's fine?" she asked, a hint of confusion in her voice for the first time. "The tickets. Don't worry about them. I'll figure something out. You have a good night." And I hung up the phone before she could reply. I sat there in my living room, the evening light fading outside. I looked at the 2 tickets I'd printed out, sitting on my coffee table. They weren't a key to fixing things anymore. They were a receipt for a lesson learned. I wasn't going to chase. I wasn't going to beg for attention or affection. I was just going to stop. I picked up my phone and sent the message to my tabletop group chat. "Hey guys, I know I've been flaking a bit lately. I'm back for good now. Who's up for a session this weekend?" My phone started buzzing with replies almost immediately. "Welcome back, man." "Yeah, let's do it. About time." I put the concert tickets in a drawer and didn't look at them again. I didn't text Lana. I didn't call. I just dropped the rope. That first weekend back with my gaming group was like coming up for air after being held underwater. I'd forgotten how easy it was to just exist with people. The sound of dice rolling, the friendly arguments about rules, the shared pizzas. Nobody was analyzing my every word or testing my reactions. We were just friends, enjoying a shared hobby. That's where I properly met Mira. She'd been part of the group for a few months, but I'd been so wrapped up in Lana's drama that I'd barely registered her beyond a polite hello. She was on my team for a complex strategy game that lasted most of the afternoon, and the first thing I noticed was that she was fully present. When it was your turn, she was watching, thinking. When you spoke to her, she made eye contact. Her phone stayed in her bag, completely forgotten. She was funny, too. A dry, sarcastic wit that caught you off guard. At one point, I made a really risky move in the game. It backfired spectacularly. Instead of groaning, she just smirked at me and said, "Well, at least you failed with confidence. That's a kind of victory, right?" I laughed, a real unstressed laugh. It felt good. She wasn't trying to be mysterious or aloof. She was just there. A complete person, engaged in the moment. After the session, a few of us decided to grab a drink at a pub down the street. Mira came along. We ended up sitting across from each other at the table. The conversation was effortless. It wasn't an interview. It wasn't a test. We talked about the game, about other nerdy hobbies, about a stupid movie we'd both seen. She asked me questions about my hiking trips, and she actually listened to the answers, asking follow-up questions. It was so startlingly normal that it felt extraordinary. I realized I had been conditioned to expect a conversation with a woman to be a minefield of potential missteps. With Mira, it just flowed. When it was time to go, we walked out together since we were parked in the same direction. Under the streetlights, she just smiled and said, "That was fun. It was nice to finally talk to you properly." "Yeah," I said, meaning it more than I could express. It really was. There was no awkwardness, no game playing, just a simple nice end to a nice evening. I got home that night feeling lighter than I had in months. I wasn't thinking about what she really meant by what she said. I wasn't dissecting her body language. I was just calm. On a whim, I texted her the next day. Something simple. "Hey, it's Silas from Game Night. Just wanted to say I had a great time yesterday." I hit send and put my phone down, a knot of familiar anxiety tightening in my stomach out of habit. I braced myself for the hours of waiting, the one-word reply, the whole soul-crushing routine. My phone buzzed in less than 5 minutes. It was Mira. "Me too. I'm still salty about that bad roll on the last turn, though. We were robbed. LOL. My thumbs hovered over the keyboard. Her reply was so normal, enthusiastic even. I wrote back, "Ha ha ha, totally robbed. We demand a recount. Hey, I was thinking of checking out that new hiking trail by the lake next weekend. If you're not busy, you should come." I was direct. No hedging my bets, no trying to be cool, just a straight-up invitation. Her reply was almost instant. "I would love that. I've been wanting to check that trail out. What day works for you?" And just like that, we had plans. No, "I'll see." No, "Let me check my calendar and get back to you." No, making me feel like I was an inconvenience she might be able to squeeze into her busy schedule. Just a simple, clear yes. The hike was fantastic. The weather was perfect. The conversation was just as easy as it had been at the pub. We talked for hours about everything and nothing, family, jobs, dreams, what the best superpower would be. There were moments of comfortable silence, too. We could just walk side by side, listening to the sounds of the forest. And it wasn't awkward. It was peaceful. After the hike, we were starving and grabbed a late lunch. At the end of the day, as I dropped her off, she turned to me before getting out of the car. "Thank you, Silas," she said. "This was genuinely the best day I've had in a long time." And she leaned in and gave me a quick, gentle kiss on the cheek. Then she was gone. I drove home with a stupid grin on my face the whole way. A few days passed. We texted here and there, little inside jokes from our hike. I realized I wasn't anxious about it. I wasn't counting the minutes between replies. I knew if I texted her, she'd reply when she could. And when she did, it would be warm and genuine. The trust was just there, implicitly. And then it hit me. I was getting ready for work one morning, brushing my teeth, and I realized I hadn't thought about Lana in almost a week. Her name hadn't crossed my mind. The anxiety, the constant low-level stress she had inflicted on me. It was gone. It had been replaced by a quiet sense of anticipation, of looking forward to talking to Mira again. My phone was no longer a source of anxiety, but a tool for connection. It was a profound moment of clarity. I had dropped the rope, and instead of falling into a void, I had simply found solid ground. My life went on. I spent more time with friends, poured more energy into my hobbies, and I spent more time with Mira. We went to the movies, we cooked dinner together, we went to another game night, this time as an unspoken team. It was all so simple, so healthy. One evening, we were just walking through a park after getting some ice cream. It had been about a month since that first hike. I just looked at her and said, "I just want you to know, I'm not seeing anyone else. I'm not interested in seeing anyone else." It wasn't a grand declaration, it was just a statement of fact. Mira stopped walking and looked at me, a soft smile on her face. Good, she said simply. Me neither. And that was that. No need for a big dramatic, what are we, talk. We were just us. Of course, that's when the ghost from the past decided to reappear. The inevitable happened. One of the guys from our game group posted a bunch of photos from our last session. There was one particularly good group shot, and right in the middle was me and Mira, sitting next to each other, laughing at something someone had said. We looked comfortable. We looked happy. 2 days later, my phone buzzed with a notification from a number I hadn't deleted, but hadn't seen in weeks. It was Lana. The message was a single word. Hey. I stared at it. I could feel the game starting all over again. The low-effort breadcrumb designed to make me ask, what's up? So she could control the conversation. The old Silas would have replied instantly, heart pounding, thinking maybe she'd come to her senses. The new Silas was busy helping Mira build a ridiculously complicated piece of IKEA furniture. I waited, not as a tactic, but because I was genuinely busy and living my life. About an hour later, I wrote back a simple, polite, and emotionally neutral message. Hey, hope you're doing well. I put the phone down and went back to the instruction manual. Her reply came back almost immediately. I'm okay. I've been thinking about you. The hook, the bait, designed to pull me back in. I didn't bite. I didn't reply for the rest of the night. I was spending time with Mira. That was my reality now. The next morning, another message from Lana. I miss what we had. Then, an hour later. Are you ignoring me? An hour after that. It's really immature to just ghost someone, Silas. The hypocrisy was breathtaking. I still didn't reply. What was there to say? That evening, she called. I saw her name pop up on the screen, and my stomach twisted, not with longing, but with a weary sense of dread. I let it go to voicemail. She called again, immediately. I silenced it. The voicemail she left was a masterpiece of passive aggression. Her voice was tight. Silas, I know you're seeing my messages. I don't know what's going on with you, but I think after everything we had, you owe me the basic decency of a conversation. Call me. I owed her. That was rich. The messages and calls continued for another 2 days. They grew more frantic, more emotional. The carefully constructed cool girl persona was crumbling in real time, revealing the desperate insecurity underneath. Finally, I got the text I knew was coming. We need to talk, in person, name a time and place. I knew I couldn't avoid it forever. It needed a clean end. I texted back. The coffee shop by the park, tomorrow at 2 p.m. It was neutral ground, public, safe. I told Mira about it. I was honest. An ex had reached out and I needed to meet her to get some final closure. Mira just nodded. Okay, she said. Let me know if you need anything. No jealousy, no drama, just trust. The contrast was, as always, staggering. I got to the coffee shop early and picked a table in the corner. Lana walked in exactly at 2. She looked different, a little stressed. The smug confidence was gone. She sat down, didn't even take her coat off. So, you have a new girlfriend, she said. It wasn't a question, it was an accusation. I'm seeing someone, yes, I said calmly. Wow, she scoffed, shaking her head. That was fast. You just throw away a whole year like it was nothing? I took a breath. I had promised myself I wouldn't get angry. Lana, I didn't throw anything away, I said, keeping my voice even. Our relationship ended weeks before I even spoke to Mira. It ended when you decided to stop being my partner and start being I don't even know what. My tester, my warden. She recoiled as if I'd slapped her. That's not fair. I was working on myself. I was trying to establish boundaries and have a healthy, empowered dynamic. I was trying to make our relationship stronger by making you realize my value. It was like listening to a pre-recorded message. All the buzzwords were there. By ignoring my texts, I asked, by canceling our plans last minute, by making me feel guilty for wanting to spend time with you, how is any of that healthy? It's called making a man chase. It's proving he's willing to put in the effort, she said, her voice rising. It shows his commitment. I was testing you and you failed. You just gave up. And there it was, the entire twisted philosophy laid bare. I looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't feel hurt or confusion. I felt a kind of sad pity. Lana, I said, and my voice was soft. A relationship isn't a test. It's not a game where one person sets up hurdles for the other to jump over. That's not a dynamic. That's a job interview. I wasn't looking for a nice guy who would fold at the first sign of trouble. I wanted a man who would fight for me. I didn't want to fight you, I said simply. I wanted to be with you. I wanted to talk to you, plan things with you, share my life with you. When I tried to talk, you called me needy. When I made a gesture, you called it pressure. You didn't want a partner. You wanted a contestant on some game show you invented in your head. Tears were welling in her eyes now. They might have been real. I couldn't tell. So, you just moved on to the first easy thing that came along? She shot back. That was the line. That was the moment my calmness finally broke, not into anger, but into a solid wall of clarity. Easy? I repeated, my voice low but firm. You think Mira is easy? Let me tell you what she is. She's honest. When I text her, she answers. When I make plans with her, she shows up, or she has a real reason if she can't. She talks to me like an equal. She respects my time and my feelings. You call that easy. I call it being an adult. It's not my job to fight for you, Lana. It's my job to be a good partner to someone who is also a good partner to me. I stood up from the table. The conversation was done. There was nothing left to say. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for, I said. I turned and walked out of the coffee shop. I didn't run. I didn't look back. I just walked. I got in my car and just sat there for a minute, the engine off. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel a rush of adrenaline. I just felt peace, a quiet, profound sense of closure. The final page of a long, exhausting chapter had been turned. Fast forward to now. It's been a few months. Mira and I are at my place. We just finished making dinner. We're sitting on the couch, working on a massive 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle on the coffee table. It's a picture of a library. It's ridiculously hard. She thinks she's found a piece that fits. She tries it. It doesn't. She groans in frustration and flops back against the cushions. I smirk and find the actual piece that fits and put it in its place. She looks at me, feigning outrage. Show off. I just smile. Later, we're watching some movie, the half-finished puzzle forgotten for the night. I look over at her. Her head is resting on my shoulder, her breathing slow and steady. She's comfortable, she's safe, and so am I. No drama, no tests, no mind games, just peace. It's amazing what you find when you stop playing their game and start living your own life.